the life hack is like bring 10 of your friends so that they shout, and then like everyone thinks you're a good performer. That's the hack there. Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Marumbo, and yeah, I'm going to be sharing some poems. I also like volunteered to go first because I have a really sad poem about death, but I also have a short poem that's an ode to life. So I'll start with that short poem. This poem is called An Ode to Life. I just have to put my phone in airplane mode. Oh, sorry, an ode to existing. Consciously aware of the gift that is life, and the hope that exists, and the overwhelming feeling that we are on course to success, however way we so wish to define it. Carrying the burden of anxiety and the cross of knowing our flaws, and living with our demons and being raised with our tombs, brilliance and doubt in one sarcophagus. Our lives sometimes feel like pyramid schemes, and our strength and breath and age remind us often that we are spending them foolishly or wisely. It is yet to be seen, but one day we won't be alive. And so we must do our best with the now. Let us exist. Thank you. Backstory. My childhood friend robbed a bank last week and like died. On a motorcycle, yes. Cheza knows a lot of the details. It's actually crazy that I know a bank robber. That's first thing. It's like, why? The other thing is like, why? And then I realized like there's been like 5 deaths of my friends over the past 6-7 years that I haven't processed. So I took Thursday off, being today, to write a new poem. 1, to process the deaths, and 2, so that I could do something special for the 11 years that Spoken Word Rwanda has been around. So yeah, we're going to dive into this poem. I'm really sorry that I'm about to make everyone sad. And if I cry, please just allow me. This poem is about death and resurrection and my acting and my confidence in being myself. Sometimes you act in a manner you think people will most accept you. And so you pretend and pretend such that the line between truth and lie is blurred, almost non-existent. And then you stop and look back and wonder who you are. Did you die in between the lines? Did you lose yourself? Did you grow and morph into something else? Did you consider yourself a butterfly? Did you learn to fly? Did you die? One of my friends died in a car crash. The car was choked full of college students, drunk, driving, partying, living fast. The car was driven by a friend. The car crashed. Our friend died. My other friend died there and then too. He lost his sense for life. We buried our friend and pretended to live. One of my friends went on a bender a few years ago, as he was known to do, and so none of us panicked or worried until 5 days passed and we hadn't seen or heard him. We put out a call to see if we could find him. 5 days later, his body was found under a bridge on a riverbank, dead and gone, but not forgotten. We buried our friend and pretended to live. When this friend died, I promised myself to do a better job of checking up on my friends to make sure that they weren't just living but alive. And so we kept on pretending, putting on a show, being the people our families expected us to be. I put on an act for my father, mother, sister. I put on an act for my girlfriend. I put on an act for my friends. I wanted to be liked, so I did all the things I thought would make people like me. Wouldn't you do the same? I just wanted to be okay. I just want to be okay. Don't you want to be okay? A couple of years later, after we had all been pretending, my friend who was driving the car that crashed and our friend died in decided that he was going to stop pretending, so he hanged himself. After we buried him, I told myself I would not carry the burden of the deaths of my friends. That part of me died too. And yet, I continued to pretend that we are okay. I told myself that one day I would stop acting and I would just be okay. When you experience death, you realize that some things like being liked, like acting, like carrying the burden of death, these things and many other things don't matter as much. And so those parts of you die too. Recently, my childhood friend robbed a bank. Successfully, might I add. But if we pause and think about it, knowing someone who robbed a bank is actually wild. He wore a mask, had a pump shotgun and a pistol. He was definitely acting, pretending to be okay. He hopped on his bike, rode to the bank branch, Told everyone to hit the floor and the teller to put the money in the bag. He had a mask on. He was acting, pretending to be okay. He stole 12 million, went outside. His bike wouldn't start. As fate would have it, he ran, fired a couple shots, ran out of bullets and truth and lines and time and credits and time. And the mob found him, removed his mask. He was no longer running or acting or pretending it was real. They stoned him to death, stole the money that he stole. How poetic. He died. We buried him. And I pretended to continue living. I told myself death is an insatiable beast that will take and not replace and not find its place in my heart and soul. I told myself I will one day be brave enough to not act, brave enough to not pretend, brave enough to accept that I am not okay, even though I just want to be okay.